Ah, hello there. So, I didn't want to start the video off here first of all, and second of all, it's this state. It is 11:24 a.m. for me the day prior, or well, not the day prior, but the same day as Christmas Eve. 11:24 a.m. and I didn't want to start the video off this way, but due to the snow situation we have had, my day became quite a bit more hasty, so good shit. So by the time you see this video, it's gonna be New Year's Eve, which means Happy New Year and welcome into 2025. I just want to also say right off the bat, I literally just got out of bed. This is my first coffee, so if I mess this whole shit up, I'm sorry, but here we are. So, 2024 has been a rough year for me, as you guys know, as you've seen all the videos throughout my year. Pretty much since the summer and all out. Started by the end of summer when we came home, and I was having issues getting in the niche with Oscar, which then got better around August again, then got worse again. Now it's all of a sudden gotten better again, because just last night me and him was talking or chatting in Discord about his speaker installed in the car and like amps and shit, because I was planning some shit out. So that has been a thing. That was really the worst. The worst was end of September, when I was pretty much forced to sign up for the apartment that I didn't really want. Granted, we did make it work in the end, but 48 square meters just isn't enough, let alone for whatever future partner that moves in. And the reason why I was forced to take up the offer was because I only got one offer from the municipal, so I would be at risk of not having any roof over my head if I didn't pick up that apartment. So because of that, I had to do it. I did have another apartment that was 70 square meters for 9 grand a month, which is 3k cheaper than what I'm paying for my current one, which is 11,004 something. I don't remember exactly at this point. It would have been a benefit. It had like wood heating and whatever else, and there it already had drop ceiling in part of the living room, so a bunch of my plans that I wanted to do was already integrated. So yeah. So here we are. So basically, and then so I would have had 3k that I could have used to cover power instead of what I now need to cover on top. Now, I have been quite lucky. My power has been pretty cheap. Overall, I've been pretty lucky with the power prices and the spot prices. So my power bill on average is around a grand, max 1500 when I'm using it. Now that I'm not home, my power is, including what I used before I went up here, on about 800 kron, but probably before I'm home, the estimated is probably going to be 400-ish, because I still have the servers on and the network equipment. but my main computer is off, Ink 2 is off, and of course my TV and stuff is off, so my power usage is long. I can probably take a screenshot and insert a screenshot right here. I can. And it gets even worse. You would think you could rely on your friends, right? And well, all of us still kind of true. It did exactly feel like it. Because you know, the same day, you guys would have seen this in the move up vlogs, the same day that I got the new apartment, Oscar came over and our oldest supposed friend, and we started to move over some stuff to the new apartment, mainly white furniture as well as the bed. Granted, I can't blame Oscar 100% because once we were lifting the fridge in, he managed to squeeze his hand right on the blood vein between the fridge and the door frame. So, you know, he was pretty much down for the count the rest of the night as far as lifting. And, you know, he was getting tired with driving too because, you know, not exactly ideal to be driving after something like that happened. Granted, we did sit for a solid 10 minutes so he could, you know, regain consciousness and everything. Nothing went whole on, so in that regard he was fine. You know, there was nothing, you know, what's the word? Nothing in a hurry. As far as we didn't need any ER or anything, it was just that he got a squeeze there, so you know, temporarily his blood flow was maybe stopped, so you know, but oh well, so I guess thanks to that older friend, at least we got at least the bare stuff into there. So yeah. So that was kind of like shit happened, nothing we could really do about it. I was still feel that we could have planned shit better. You know, I can't exactly say I'm too happy with, you know, his parents' behavior either for how they have laid out and thought about things, but I digress, that's just me. Anywho, what that resulted in is that mid-month change was when my move happened, so that's usually when I'm the lowest of money, and as a result of that, well, and without anyone else that has a license to help me move shit, I was pretty much stuck until the 19th before I could sort out the movie copy. So, well, what did I do? Well, I moved things by backpack and suitcases initially, and then later on it ended up with trolley and backpack, which you all will have seen. Oh, 19 came around, tried to contact one page that a friend had offered me. No response whatsoever. Economics were taking a turn to the worse, 40k deep in house debt. Because, you know, once that happened with Oscar and we did get more moved that first day or moving company sorted out later, well, what could you do? It took me way more than 5 days. In fact, it took me 2 whole months to get out of the old apartment. So, you know, granted, luckily this got covered by our social security and well-being agency, lmao. So at least I don't have to worry about for that for now, but it is still future debt that I could potentially have to pay back if my economical situation improves so much, which I'm hoping, and it probably will, if I get my shit together and start doing what I want to do, which is get like more bar gigs, more sound gigs at bars or whatever in town. But that has live bands and stuff. So yeah, I did contact Bob eventually. Or well, if I would have contacted Bob earlier, we could have got the movie company earlier, and none of this would have been a problem. Heck, I would have had maybe 2-3 months to settle into the new apartment before I went up here. But oh well, little too late. But then, probably the worst hit of 2024 comes, well, the one Sunday. This was like what, still mid-moving. I think it was like third week in September or whatever, or in October or whatever. But basically, I'm not gonna go into too much details since I've already made a dedicated video on this, but basically, came out of my bedroom late as per usual, 3 p.m. because I was just dead after moving and shit. Went to go get ready to record like 3 videos or 4 videos or whatever after a bit of coffee, but little did I know that for the next 3 hours I was going to be stuck in a Discord call with Yanni Boy, Oscar, 2 of their friends again, which one of them is probably still kind of my friend, one kind of doesn't want jack shit with me to do, but I digress. And what is now, well, my ex-GF cat. So it's not half bad, I guess, because at the end of the day I was kind of the reason, and at the end of the day we did kind of make it mutual, so I mean we're still friends, but yeah, you can still feel it, I would say. Anywho, mid-November comes around, 10 days to get everything on the other apartment done and the keys delivered, because then we were actually reaching the end of the original contract, which means then it was stopped, even if I had, got done or not. So basically I talked with my Bob, we sorted out some stuff. I contacted a moving company called Trøndelag Flytteservice, which I would highly recommend. So if you're moving in the Trøndelag area, I'd recommend giving them a call or contacting them on their page. So he called me. That I told him that I needed a guy to transport there and that I can help myself, and told him the stuff we had to move, which was the stuff in the hallway and then the couch and a few bits and bobs. Next day, at the time we agreed, he came with like a 12 square meter transporter or whatever, loaded it all up, drove to the new place. I paid before we unloaded because they've had some issues with people not paying on time, because normally they would do invoicing. I loaded it all in. Very friendly guy, and we started even talking like, cars and whatever else, personal stuff. So very friendly guy to talk with, the guy I had come help me move, so highly recommend them. And I guess to make this short, since, well, I don't even know how long have I even been recording. I have no idea. Can I see how long I have been recording if I go into the camera up here? Okay, never mind. So it just broke when I opened the camera on my watch, but okay, so good shit. But yes, what I was trying to say, so we've been in it for 15 minutes and I've formulated like 2 pages of text. So to get to the other half of this video, I hope if I'm able to condense this down into 15 minutes, so 30-minute video total. The other half of this video is just going to be my plans for 2025. At least as far as you see it, what I want to get done, it's not certain that we will get it done, but it's what I want to get done in 2025. Starting with the server room. So at the start, I want to try and get, what's going to become the server room. So we plan to install a Harmony Line 1 solid door from Bygg, as well as just whatever 2x6 and sheets of drywall and some rock wool, basically building a wall around 80% of the hallway, making that into the server room, and then have the other 20% be the hallway and then the bathroom. Put rock wool inside of the wall, drywall on either side, and then probably just paint the drywall or whatever. Unless I decide to do something more fancy with wood or whatever. We'll see what I decide to do. Since it's just too loud when you head to the bathroom at night, and I've always wanted to get like a semi-proper server room, and generally like also fly for like main network stuff and get it installed properly, so we have a main network infrastructure established fully, so we can just ride that all the way until we like move again, which is going to be max within the next 3 years, unless we, unless I decide to buy up that apartment then before my contract is up, which, unless a miracle happen, won't happen, but and it's not that I really wanna, but I may. It all depends. Anywho, I'm hoping to get that done as early as I can. I don't know if it will happen now in February, since I have passport and stuff then. If I'm lucky, we may get that started in March. Because I also have EU control in January on my car. So pretty much I leave the 20th from here-ish, which means the 22nd probably I'm gonna have to have EU control, which means I'm gonna have to talk with Oscar to get my car moved to back on the 21st, and then picked up again the 22nd, and then either with a valid one until February of 27, or we need to do some work and get it recertified again before the 19th of February. So to move on to the server stuff, what I'm gonna do with the server stuff, apropos the server room. So when I'm back home, we have a few things that was gonna happen. We have 4 RX 570s and a super microserver waiting for us down there. The plan with the super microserver is to upgrade it from a Pentium G9650 onto a Xeon 3480 probably. We're stuck with DDR3, but we'll make it work. I'll probably just upgrade it to 32 gigs. It's not like DDR3 is a hard thing to find. But we will make it work. I'm not sure what I'm going to use that server for yet, but what I'm thinking, at least for the time being, is to run bare bones Home Assistant on that server, and then we'll see what we do eventually. As for the 570s, one of them is going in my sleeper PC, as said before, which I still need to swap motherboard and that thing, because we're still using the motherboard that has some bendy ass pins that we pretty much fixed around. First, we kinda broke it because we dropped a CPU in there when we tried to get a CPU which was apparently dead to work. Before I later on bought a i5 9400F and a BioStyle motherboard. BioStyle motherboard gave up, so I got an lmao on that. But I didn't exactly want to buy another BioStyle motherboard, so what me and Oscar tried to do was straighten the pins as much as possible in that Asus motherboard, and we installed the i5 in there. We did get it to work, but it is not boosting to the frequency it's supposed to boost to, so yeah, and if you give it full load and then it instantly drops all the way down again, it just shuts down on itself. So yeah, we did a new motherboard of that, but as said, Sleeper PC consists of a 9400F, 32 gigs of random Corsair Ventures DDR4, 32 gigs RAM. And the reason why it doesn't have a GPU is because the 980 Ti, which was I took back the 980 Ti, which was in the Sleeper PC, to help with encoding duty for OBS and rendering. That 980 Ti has been dying over the years ever since I really got it, because I got it back when we did my first full proper gaming PC build back in summer 21. Basically, it started with the thing artifacting whenever you would fire up something 3D heavy, like a 3D heavy application of a game, and then it would like reset its GPU drivers, and then it will just work fine and never artifact again until I restarted the computer. And then it would do the same thing again, and then after it reset the drivers once, then it would be just fine. But then later on, so I upgraded to a 3060 late 2021 before the move. And then I put the 980 Ti on the side, but then later it was put back onto encoding duty together with my 3060, I believe, and then later on 22 when I got the 3090, it got again put on the shelf, but then again put back on encoding duty, since I just can't do it all with one card for what I want to do. So basically, it's just started to give up now. I'm having dropped frames happen when there's no reason for dropped frames to be happening. And all of that jazz. So basically the plan is that we're gonna slap one of the RX 570s into Ink 2, which is doing VC phase and also being used for Granimate 2 programming and stuff, since I don't have any more appropriate station set up for that. And then we're gonna put the 3060 into my main system to do encoding. Now you may ask me, Carl, how the hell are you gonna fit a 3090, a 3060, as well as your other PCIe expansion cards into there? Well, you see, I'm using the Corsair 7000D series, so it has its PCIe slots, but then it also has 3 vertical PCIe slots on the side of that again. So basically the idea is pull the 3090, PCIe Gen 4 16X riser, then install the 3060 all the way in the bottom if I'm able to. Granted, I will not have access to the 8-segment display or my front I/O, but in reality, as long as nothing goes wrong, I shouldn't need access to those. And then on top of that, we get 10 gig SFP plus NIC, capture cards. What I'm hoping to do is change out my AverMedia Gamer HD 2 to either 2 of the 2 input versions of those cards, or get a quad capture card from Blackmagic We'll see what I do about that, and then just do a PCIe riser from the top slot down to that side slot, and then I can just vertical mount my 3090 right besides all my other cards, and then by any luck there should be just about enough room behind there to plug in power for the 3060, as the 3060 power plug is a bit recessed into the card, so I'm not too concerned about it. The other 257s, I don't really know. One of them I am thinking about just using in a random ITX build. I'm thinking about building for my media center TV and stuff. As far as for the last card, I wanna try and use it for flex transcoding, even though it's a Gen 3 card. The server that's running that is Virtual Neko, my 410, as you guys know. It only has PCIe Gen 3. Now, the 570s are Gen 3, so it could work. But it could also give me a PCIe training error. I also need to tap power, PCIe power, from somewhere directly on the power supply, since there is no internal connector for that for obvious reasons. And it's going to be kind of tight to fit that all in there. So we may have to move the Plex server to a dedicated server for that. We get another 2U, potentially 4U. Their server is not a 2U super micro server, at least on Skylake or Coffee Lake. Now granted, finding any motherboard, at least their old motherboards with LGA 1151 or 2066 is very unlikely. So it's probably going to be something along the lines of a Xeon 5000 series or something. Other than that, I do want to try and swap out my 410 with a 420 or a 430. I'm going to try and find a 2.5-inch drive bay 420 or 430 which has 8 2.5-inch bays. So I can build a full SSD server, just fill the thing up with the Kioxia Xera 960 gig drives, and get like 5.76 terabytes raw and 1.92 gigs or terabytes for parity data. That which means I could lose up to 2 drives before any data loss. I could technically do a RAID C3 since that will give me 4.8 terabytes of raw, which is technically plenty for, you know, active project and active ingest footage, but we'll just do RAID C2. So then we have 5.76 terabytes on that server, which should be plenty for ongoing projects, and then we can make the 710 fully for archive. Although eventually I do want to get a HL15 from 45 drives for handling my archive. Slap some 22 terabyte 22 terabyte Seagate Iron Wolves in there or whatever, and RAID C3 the bitch, and have plenty of archive. 3 drive failures can happen without data loss, all good and handy dandy. On top of that, I do want to try and build a 2U dedicated rendering server with a Quadro or something like that. But as said, economics throughout this year is going to be everywhere, so this is mostly just plans and things I want to do. If it's going to happen, I don't know, so I'm not promising anything. Then we go to the drop ceiling. There will also be a whole server room installed project right after. I'm going to try and get drop ceiling. This was something I wanted to do for a long time in the old apartment. Why I want the roof, why I want drop ceiling is because it will allow me to run cables etc. up in the roof out of the way invincible instead of running it along the roof in trunking as we were doing in the old apartment. We'll still probably use trunking or some kind of cable basket up above the roof just to keep it neat, but at least that means you can't just drop cables through the roof to stuff that's going to be mounted on the roof, like access points, height channels for surround sound, or smoke and heat detectors for fire alarm and stuff like that. This will also allow us to do in-roof HVAC to some degree, depending on, because I'm gonna have to search through the municipal about getting allowed to mount the outdoor unit on the outside of the house. But if you can make it work, I want to try and install just a whatever HVAC unit, try and tap into its wiring and figure out a way that together with some piping, a few dampers, the FEC and Johnson control programming and a few relays, I can tap into the HVAC unit for turning compressor on and off, as well as turning the blower on and off in its different stages, depending on how much open the dampers are and the back pressure on the pipe. And also what that's going to allow me to do is do downlights. I've always wanted to do downlights to get more even lighting, and what I'm planning to do is do Philips Hue downlights, probably, so that way I can solve them, unless I just do whatever Zigbee controlled downlights and do some Home Assistant integration for doing all that. We'll see what I do, but at least that will give me zonable downlights, so that should make it quite a bit more even, both for recording as well as give a much better ambience if you're sitting late at night wanting it to be cozy or stuff like that. Although we'll see what we end up doing. Moving on to car stuff. Still uncertain what's going to happen to the car throughout this year, since it all depends on the license situation. Since, as you guys know, I was at Clinic Cognito and I did get the okay from them here in August, early September. But they've been so confused about what's actually needed and stuff for like the special exempt. So I'm going to try to get the doctor's appointment early this year and sort this out, so by any miracle I could get started on my license stuff this summer. Although that still won't stop me from working on the car. The first thing that will happen to the car, as I'm not planning to do much with the car before the summer, first thing is sort out a new pair of summer tires for the car, as well as the rims, because the rims I have for the car, my summer rims right now, is just beat up to hell. And as far as the tires goes, the treads, I have like maybe 1.5 millimeters left. So it's just no point. So I'm going to trade those in and see what I can get back for them. And then I'm going to buy a new set of tires and rims to slap on the car. Next plan is probably to finish up painting the rest of the brake calipers, as well as the non-friction surfaces of my brake discs and stuff. Which I'm gonna try and maybe get a workshop, or not necessarily rent a workshop, but ask if I can borrow a workshop of an actual dealer or something to do some work, because there was before a bunch of places that did like pay like a little bit, use our workshop for so long, blah 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 blah, like public authentic places, but apparently they have just gotten less and less of that here, which is kind of annoying, which is one thing I envy about Seattle, because they have a bunch of places like that in Seattle. So calipers are painting non-friction surfaces of the brake disc, as well as swapping the brake discs and the pads in the front. General cleanup of the driveline, de-rust linkages and shit and paint them, as well as grease and swap out bearings and bushings if it should be needed. Really, the whole suspension should have been changed, but we'll see about that. I also want to change out my 2 LED bars in the front to a single over like 30 or 40 centimeter LED bar below my license plate, since it will give a more even spread of light than the 2 that I have currently sitting up top. They throw light a fair bit, but they're just too narrow for me, for my taste. So wider LED bar in the bottom and move the relay and install a new relay in the fuse box or in a more properly made box rather than where it currently is and my grandfather installed it, which is just strapped to the side of the engine bay. Moving to the interior, one of the last things we did was installing our Pioneer SPH DA160 into our car, as well as extending the antenna, installing a new and extending that antenna wire for the knob to reach all the way forward. Later on, we figured out how the light illumination works, so we installed a switch right beside my gear shifter to manually turn light illumination off and on. Later, eventually, I do want to get that moved over to a daylight sensor. So what is there to do in the interior? Well, there's a few things I want to try and get done, but I want to install a new blow-bolt door, as if you remember back in February last year, the car I've been standing and my blow-bolt door didn't start. We did get it running in the weirdest way possible though. Insert clip here. Holy shit! She's alive! Holy shit! Oh, I don't think even my radiator is alive. Kom igen! Pop that tray and see if we can see what the fuck is happening. This is almost like something is down in there blocking it. But there is the blower motor. It's completely free. I don't understand. The flap is open. The motor is completely free. But it's not spinning. It spun for a while ago. And then watch me now turn it on and it spins. Okay, I don't know how the fuck. I removed the panel. I turned on the fan. Now she's alive. So, yeah. But I do want to change it just for preventive maintenance, just to have it done, and also to change the cabin filter, because the cabin filter has probably never been changed. If not, it's a long time since. New AC control unit, since it's just beat up, and all that jazz, as well as seat heat modules to finally get our seat heat working. Now, depending on how the seat heat elements inside of the seat is, it's going to depend if we actually get this working, but if we can get it working, then great. Since it was removed as a part of diagnosing a fault. Eventually, I do want to repolster all my seats in my car. It's more of a sports cloth kind of style, instead of leather. Probably a combo of red and black, probably, and stuff like that. So really, one of the main things I want to do is backup camera for the SPH and get new speaker wire on into the doors and get insulation there, as we already have a bunch in the truck door. So really, it's just a matter of insulating up top above the subwoofer, side of the subwoofer, and the doors, and potentially in the floor, under the carpet. carpet. I don't really mind the engine noise, so I'm not going to bother insulating the firewall, and it will also help keep heat in the car since it can't be warm unless it's being driven or held at 1500 if it gets pretty cold outside. The last plan, besides from running RGB strips and stuff, is installing new speakers, as we have been running the stock Volvo speakers in that car. Poor fucking speakers, that's all I'm saying, because it's all running through the internal amp of the car. And because I have bass boost on, even though I have a crossover on, I'm not getting that hard limit of 80 Hz or 100 Hz, so my poor speakers in the door, they are living a rough life. So basically, I don't know yet if we're gonna stick with Pioneer or Ground Zero, but basically it's either gonna be the Ground Zero GZ-RF 6.5 SQ, because I believe the speakers in my car are 6.5 inch. Oscar's was apparently 5.25, but he figured out that 6.5 worked better. So that's the thing. And with the Ground Zero GZIA 135.4, which is a 4-channel amp. So that gives me 100 watt RMS per channel at 4 ohms, which is enough to drive. I probably meant to write 110 probably, which gives me 110 watt RMS per channels at 4 ohms, which is enough to drive the GZ-RFs SS, since they are 100 watt RMS at 3 ohms. So we have some headroom. If we were to go to the Pioneer option on the other hand, which is the TSZ65F, they are 110 watt RMS at 4 ohms, max 330, which I'll probably not run them at max, probably stick to 150, so at least get above the RMS, but the GZI can only provide 100 watt RMS. So to reach the RMS, I would either need to run 2 GZIA 200-2s or .2s, or the more tempting option, which is the Pioneer GMD 9704, which, depending on, I may go for the other option from Pioneer, maybe, which is 90 watt RMS, which is the TSD65F, and together with the D8704, since that is a bit cheaper. But we'll see. At least that gives you guys a rough outline of what we're going to do. And behind the speakers and in certain parts of the car, we're going to be using Ground Zero GZ-DM250AL behind the speakers when installing them, which is another type of sound deadening. And then, as per usual, we'll be using Ground Zero speaker wire, probably 1.5mm, which will be plenty. And we're using the OFC oxygen-free copper version, not the CCA copper-coated aluminum option. Moving on to the last thing, as this video is now about 45 minutes. Last thing I want to cover in this video is about travel stuff. As in light of the recent event, I have been searching to find someone else. And I have joked about, VR chat and stuff, and it is a valuable option. I'm not saying it can't work, but I want to go to boycotts and stuff, and last time I was at the con was August 2023 when I was working for Turicon. But after they fired me, I didn't feel like going that year, nor did I go last year. After they fired me, I didn't go the other day in 2023, and I didn't go to any con last year. Yeah, since I didn't really have any, I didn't really want to go. But at the same matter of time, I want to travel to cons. So for the longest time I wanted to attend Open in Germany, as well as less of a con, but a con nonetheless. TwitchCon Europe, which is going to be in Rotterdam. Man, it's gonna be fun digging that car out over. And I would say I have the possibility due to all the stuff, as I wanna highly focus also on the gaming side of things, because it's been very much neglected. The most videos I've done was in 2023 where I did 92 videos. Last year, or this year I said, I've only done 56. Normally on a proper full year, there will be at least like 15 videos a week, 3 farming sim, 2 ATS, 2 ETS, 2 satisfactory, 2 Microsoft Flight Sim and 4 Model MC videos. On a slower week, maybe 8 to 10, and then 2 to 3 streams. In total, without breaks, that would be 780 videos a year. 15 times 52 weeks. But I'll cover more of that on an update video I'm gonna make on the gaming channel, which I'm hoping to get out, you know, later tomorrow. But that all depends on how busy the house gets and stuff like that, so yeah. So to give you a rough estimate of what I wanna do, or what my traveling plan is gonna be and what I wanna do. Home from north, so when I go from here back home. Fable, Rotterdam, 31st of May until 1st of June, TwitchCon. Fable, fly directly from Rotterdam to Düsseldorf. Frokomi, the 6th to 8th of June, which means if I get 5-day hotel in Rotterdam, take flight the 3rd, 2-3 days in Düsseldorf, attend the con 6th to the 8th, and then fly back late 8th or 9th, all depending on economics, but again, all that depends on economics. After that, if I head there, I'll be right up north, probably after one stop at home to unload and repack. Stay up north until like either mid-July, head home, then come back mid-August and wrap up some summer lawn work and stuff. Head back again, potentially attend MetroCon in Stavanger in September. I don't know when, since the page hasn't been updated for 2025 yet. And then after that back home probably, and then we'll see what I decide to do. I do also maybe want to take myself a trip to Oslo or something. So we'll see. But we have been sitting here for 32 minutes plus the 15 minutes that I recorded earlier. So I have kept you guys hostage for long enough. This has been an update video, which I have recorded rushed because the clock is 12:13. I need to edit the video which I pulled off of this one last night. Get started on that, then eventually I gotta go out and dig out the bloody car. So yeah, busy day. And this speech was almost 4,000 words. So yeah. So with that, I want to say thank you guys for watching. If you guys stick through this whole video, I wanted to try and keep this 20 to 30 minutes, but I'm just too good at talking, I guess. So yeah, I want to wish you guys a happy welcome into 2025. I hope we're able to do lots of things this year. I hope we're able to turn my economics back the correct way, despite wanting to do more stuff and all of that. So really with that, I'm not going to keep you guys here any longer. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, like we greatly appreciate it. And as always, check a list down below for my socials, gaming channel, Twitch, as I'm gonna try my hardest to record more gaming videos, stream more this year, more variety of games stream, try and get back into Destiny, kind of get back to my proper self that I was a few years back, when I played much more than what I've done this entire year. Other than that, stay tuned and stay awesome, and Nikolai, the heck.